All right, Dr. Michel-Angelo James, Mayor James, good to have you.
Good to be here, and thank you for allowing me to share
Absolutely.
time with you.
Very good. Again, welcome to the show. And just to get us started, you ever heard of Tales before?
Well, most recently, but
Yeah.
not until today.
Right. Okay. So it's a conversation starter. You know, a lot of times we find ourselves in the same room, but we're all kind of glued to these devices, right? Unfortunately, you know,
Yes, sir.
they have their good aspects and everything, but sometimes they can have our attention a little too much. And so when we're in the same room with people, we tend to not conversate as much. So this tells here, it helps bring conversation back. And so there's a family edition, there's a life edition, there's a couples edition. So to start out, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, okay? And of course, these are random right here. So, describe a memorable holiday that you had with your family at some point, whether as a child or as an adult. So just
memorable family
holiday.
holiday.
Yeah.
One holiday that we really enjoy happens to be Christmas.
Okay.
And we generally gather around at various homes. So we go from house to house. And one of the most memorable ones was during the time that both my grandparents and my mom were alive. And so we would gather together at the home and gather around the table. And it's just the sharing back and forth across the table, the conversations that were being had. And along with that, I think one of the major things that makes you feel good is seeing all family gathering together in a space and enjoying each other.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of my favorite ones. And I could go back as far as maybe 1987 and enjoy those times together.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Good to have them holiday experiences, especially as we grow older. We spread out a little bit.
Yes.
And having those good reasons to come back and share some time with each other. Let's see here. All right. So maybe share a moment that you were incredibly proud of your family.
Oh, well, one of the major times when my son went into military.
Okay.
And he started serving our country. And of course, he most recently retired. But I'm just excited about watching him develop, grow, and become. And then alongside that, to see the grandchildren as they have grown and become viable citizens of our city.
Nice. Yeah. What branch did he serve?
He was in the Army.
Army? Great. That's awesome.
Yeah, he ended up, as he retired as a captain.
Okay.
And he now lives in a city not too far from here.
Okay.
Which I'm really excited about because now it's only an hour and 30 minutes away. I can kind of just travel to go.
That's right. Yes. Nice. Well, we appreciate his service for sure.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. All right, let's do one more. Let's see here. All right, kind of funny here. What's one of the weirdest things maybe that you've seen someone in your family do?
The weirdest thing I've seen done in my family. Well, my mom and dad were and are, in some sense, comedians.
Okay.
So my mom is more the straight person. She's the person that sets it up, and then my dad is the closer. So to have them both in a room together, my father at one point was hospitalized. And in this time that he was at the hospital, my mom and my dad were entertaining the head nurses and the nurses at the hospital. So when they would go into the room where they had this banter going on between the two of them that makes everyone laugh. So each time I would come to the room, I knew it was the gathering around only because those two had gotten together and made some funny statement about something. And that's comical for us.
That's nice. Yeah. Having, I think most families have at least one comedian in their in their home, and
whole house full. I'm the only one that's not the person.
So you're a little more serious.
I may be a little humorous sometimes, but I think that's just periodic. But with them, it's consistent.
Nice. Well, there you go. Yep. So everybody, if you ever have the opportunity to check out Tales, be sure and do it. It's a great conversation starter, and you can do that with friends and family and so forth. So, well, so Mayor James, you are currently serving as the mayor of Waycross, Georgia, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and you've been serving there since 2020.
That's
Is that
correct.
right? Okay, all right.
2020.
So we'll get into that a little later on in our conversation. But I want to get to know you a little bit. This is the first time we've ever met, right?
That's correct.
And I think in helping out with conversations, or maybe seeing people's point of view and things like that, it helps to know, who we are, right? Mm-hmm. What makes Mayor James. And so I want to go all the way back to your childhood. And so just talk to us a little bit about your upbringing, about living in Waycross, high school, so forth. What were some of your hobbies? Did you play sports? Were you in music? All that good stuff.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for the question. I'm going to go back as far as I can from birth to now, if I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So in my upbringing, back in the early days, one of the key issues was that I was born a bit early. So my mom carried me for 6 months, and then I was born in the 6th month.
Okay, wow.
So born with the underdeveloped portions of me, like the vital organs, specifically my lungs. I basically had to be housed in Augusta, Georgia, in a hospital for the first 4 months of my life. And from that point on, it seemed touch and go with the family. So they had opportunity at a couple of times where doctors have asked them whether or not to allow me to be, pass away or to be transitioned from the earth.
Wow.
So in the process, my family decided to keep me, thankfully.
Heck yeah.
And therefore, I'm here today. Along with that, throughout my life, I've dealt with a few issues with asthma and various other types of things. But the Lord blessed me in the sense that He allowed me to utilize even what we might call the ailments to become advancements.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty good. And growing up, I learned certain things a little differently than everyone else because of certain hold-ups and holdbacks. Right. But God blessed me in a particular way, and that was He allowed me to not know a good bit about my problems, so I never did focus on them.
Very good.
So my family kept things to themselves. They would not tell me certain things about me until I got of age. And after I got of age, they shared a few of the things with me. So I would not have known and probably would not have done some of the things that I learned to do. When you mentioned some of the hobbies that I have, one hobby is I'm a saxophonist. I play an instrument.
Nice.
So I enjoy playing saxophone, but having only one developed lung, I would not have known if they had not told me that I shouldn't be playing.
Right.
Yeah. But because of it, it helped me develop not knowing the problem and then pushing forward.
Right.
So I most recently played in an event. We played a good bit of times here for the city of Waycross before I became the mayor for centenarian meetings. We have something called Georgia Cities Day or Georgia Cities Week. And so I would be asked to come in and play. And so I bring the band and we come in and play gospel music.
Nice.
So I enjoyed doing that, and I enjoy doing it now. I think the last time I've actually played, I've been, as you probably already know, I've been pastoring a church since the 1980s. And so as a result of it, we've been celebrating 126 years of our services there in the city. And strangely, they asked me to come in and be a saxophonist or musician for an end, and I did the grand finale. And they couldn't believe the length of time that we put into the practice to get the music done.
Right.
So music is a great part of my life as well. And talking back about family, just kind of pulling in on the idea of growth with my family, faith has been a major issue in our household. We believe in our Heavenly Father.
Absolutely.
And of course, we are a faith family, but we're also a family of fidelity. And I would say that we have a tendency to help each other. So we're a family-oriented family.
Right.
So we love family all over. My father travels distances, even now, to go see family in various parts of the state of Georgia. So if something's happening, he's gonna get in the car and take off.
That's great. I can definitely relate to that. I come from a strong family background as well, and we've got friends of ours that they kind of joke around. They say that we find any excuse to have some kind of family reunion, right, or a family gathering. It don't
Exactly.
matter what it is. We're gonna figure out a way to get together.
Exactly. I love family. And I have extended families because I tend to connect to other people's homes and families. And so if they're not careful, I'll be adopted into someone's family, even though my last name will remain the same. My behavior toward them seems to be more familial. So
Nice.
I'm really excited about family all over the place. I actually pastor a church in Claxton, Georgia, as well in Waycross, Georgia.
Okay.
And the family there, the Densons, I have a tendency sometimes to claim them as my brothers and sisters, since their dad, when he was in his 80s, called me in to oversee them as a bishop. And I came in and started overseeing them in between 98 and 2000.
Okay.
And so the family has taken me in as their little brother.
Nice.
So that's really nice.
Nice. So you served as currently served as a bishop, you said?
I am.
You currently serving as a bishop?
I am.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So I served. I don't currently serve as a bishop, but we have the same calling in our church. So from 2013 to 2018, so for about 5 years, I served as the bishop for our local congregation.
That's a big job.
Yeah. Yes. It is. It is.
Yes.
It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of added responsibility on top of everything else we have going on, but it's a blessing, right? I mean, it comes with its challenges and everything, but what I really enjoyed about serving as a bishop of the congregation is the one-on-one time that you are able to spend with people, sitting knee to knee with them, praying with them, talking them through challenges and things like that, and ultimately helping people grow and draw closer to our Savior Jesus Christ.
Oh yes, and that's the key.
Yeah,
and because I love Jesus, I love to share Jesus with other people. So that's the major thing. There's a gentleman by the name of Jerry Savelle. He wrote a book called Effective Sharing of Jesus Christ. And so in this book, I read through and I began to share Jesus with other people all over the place. So
nice.
Evangelism is a major focus of my bishopric.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. That's good stuff. And how long have you been pastoring and bishoping the church?
This year for me will be in December. Will be 37 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a run. That's awesome.
Yes,
that's awesome. On top of everything else you do.
Yes, as an educator, because I teach school.
That's right.
I was teaching school before I started pastoring, so that made it a unique thing because I get to see the people that I teach also in the services, right. And that gives me a good opportunity to share Christ, my faith, and it encourages me to keep on doing what I do.
Yeah. And you said that that was kind of as a child, faith being ingrained into your yes. Kind of to your makeup and everything.
Yes, so. Yes. Well, initially, because as I mentioned in the opening lines, that I had some difficulties in developmental situations right. there, especially within the vital organs like the lungs and heart and so forth. So with that, my mom and my dad agreed to send me to a local school. It was a parochial school, and it was St. Joseph's Academy in Waycross on Nickel Street. And I stayed there with the school, and I met a priest by the name of Michael. Father Michael O'Keefe was his name. And he spent some time with me. He would see me between kindergarten and fourth grade. I would see him. He'd come pick me up and throw me across the shoulder and walk with me.
Nice.
Because sometimes my breathing would be terrible, but he would be the person who identified it, pick me up and take me around. And sometimes he would interrupt our class and come pick me out of the classroom and said, "Come here, Michael." So I'm Michel-Angelo, and he was Father Michael. So
nice.
That's kind of interesting.
Nice.
So that built my faith. Initially, when I met him, I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be a priest. I wanted to be someone who went into countries and shared Jesus.
Yeah.
And thus far, I've had the opportunity to do some going out beyond our country. I know back in 2004, our President Bush at the time, gave me the permission to go to Japan. So I got an opportunity to go to Japan, and I was in Tokyo teaching, and I had a book called Leader Can You Stand the Test, a book that I had an opportunity to write.
Okay.
And I was able to share that with our military. So I basically was able to share, because it's about business, it's also about working with people in faith as well.
Right.
So I had an opportunity to do like a little revival over in Tokyo.
That's
so
awesome.
I had fun.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. How important is it, do you think it is? So it sounds like he was a mentor to you and everything.
Yes,
so how important is that as a youth, as a teenager, to have somebody that you can look up to, and obviously we want to be able to look up to our parents, our fathers and mothers and everything. But I heard someone say one time about, from especially during those early teenage years, your parents become those individuals that don't know anything, right? They don't.
Well,
and so you want to go listen to somebody else, and I think it's really important to be able to have somebody that they can look to, and kind of follow.
I definitely agree with you. Mentoring is a major emphasis of our ministry, but because we believe in reproducing others like Christ, so you have to mentor other people in. But most of my mentors have been ministers or pastors.
Yeah.
After Father Michael, I actually became a part of a church in our local city, and my parents were instrumental in getting me to those services. So once I started there, I pretty much, I know we speak of the Holy Trinity, but I also had the pastor who seemed like he would have been a part of that Holy Trinity in my mind. I followed him tremendously. I continued to follow after him. And one day while in prayer, because we had prayer on Tuesdays, and I went to prayer with my aunt and my uncle on a Tuesday night. And I had already joined this particular parish or group. And after I joined them, I was really cautious of what I said and did, because I'm learning. I'm becoming a part of a new facility, a new group. And somewhere along the way, I met the pastor and I got a chance to talk with him. And I just started following him. And my mom kind of was wondering, why are you, because parents sometimes are very touchy about their children.
Oh yeah.
And I being, at this time, I'm a preteen, so I'm following after him and wanting to carry his grip, his bag, whatever he had, I wanted help. And so eventually at this prayer meeting on that Tuesday, I felt a call or pull to minister or to share Christ with other people. And I shared it with the assistant pastor, and I told him, I said, listen, I believe the Lord has called me to preach. And he said, Brother Michel-Angelo, come here for a minute. And my pastor, who would not normally come to the city until maybe the weekend, because he pastored 2 churches, he would not show up until maybe a Saturday or Friday or Saturday. He showed up on that Tuesday. Of all the times, the day I just confessed to the assistant pastor that I believed I was called to ministry. When I went to the pastor that day, the assistant led me straight to him as the pastor was driving up in the driveway. He says, I want to tell you something. This young man says the Lord has called him to preach. Well, once he said that to him, he says, I've been waiting on him. My pastor said he had been waiting on me. And
that's correct. That's pretty wild.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was so excited about that. And
again, this is, tell me again how old you were.
At this time, I'm just preteen. I'm about 12.
Yeah, you're young. Yeah.
So I'm telling him this, and so he took the time to sit down and talk with me. So of course, in my family, you don't do anything without talking to parents first.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
My mom and dad had to approve pretty much everything that I did, and well, not pretty much everything that I did, if I can clarify.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it to Mom when I got in, and she mentioned it to Dad, because that's usually the protocol. We kind of go through Mom to Dad.
That's right.
And so we were talking, and she said, I don't want you telling anyone that. You wait a while. You're still a child. You haven't done anything. You haven't had any experiences in life yet. So you just kind of let that go for a time. We'll be praying about it. So she called my pastor that night. She called him and to tell him about the event. she said, just don't tell anyone that he said this yet. Just kind of hold it.
Yeah.
So the following Sunday, which is the second Sunday, and we had gone through the morning worship, and we got down to and this is in the month of June. We got through the morning worship until we come back to night service. So we got back to night service, and at the end, Pastor raised his hand, getting ready to do the benediction. And so as he lifted his hands, after we sang the doxology, then he says, Brother James, do you have anything you want to say to the congregation? And I say, I believe the Lord has called me to preach. That's what I said out loud.
Wow.
And it was just this overriding presence of God in the room.
Okay.
And people were receptive to the call. But my mom was really frustrated.
Imagine,
because
yeah.
she had already said, don't tell anyone.
Right.
He didn't, but he had me to do it in a sense by
yeah,
asking
yeah,
me in front
yeah.
of everyone.
Yeah, he opened the door for you for sure.
He did. He
In
did.
front of everybody.
Yeah. So after going through the process of training, I actually was sent to school, going to school with him. And he took me to some various Christian education courses that I had to take. And that's the beginnings of my ministry.
Okay.
By the time I was 17 years old, I was ordained as a preacher.
Nice.
Yeah. But I went through those years of study and training.
That's I mean, that's great. That's great. I mean, a lot of 17-year-olds out there don't have a clue what they want to do in life. Right?
That's good.
I mean, it's I was, at 19, I was called to serve a 2-year mission for my church. I served in Las Vegas, and did that for 2 years. Our mutual friend Thomas Simpson, right? So he served down in Chile, down Santiago, Chile. He did that for 2 years. But it sounds like you knew that you wanted to take that route, and be in ministry your entire life, and which is what you've done, right? Our ministry, our 2-year service, it's a 2-year thing. It's 18 months for young women, and then you go on and continue your career path, right? Which may not be in ministry. But like I say, a lot of 17-year-olds don't have a clue on what they want to do. So that's awesome that you've already got that vision for yourself out there, and it sounds like the Lord was giving that to you.
From a young age, I've always had the love and desire to please the Lord. That was the desire I had. And I noticed through my walk with the Lord from the early days, from a 12-year-old up until I graduated from high school. And, here I am, a preacher in middle school and high school. And then I go to college and I'm still a preacher.
Wow.
And even though I could try to hide it, it was not hidden.
Right.
Yeah. But I thank God for allowing me, by the grace of God, to be saved and also to walk the work that He's given me to do. And so through the years, I worked with counties all over the state of Georgia, especially in the 11th district, which we live in now, to help young people. So my goal had always been to share Christ with my people my age and younger. And that grew the church and grew our churches because we were able to reach out, do outreach and evangelistic work. And so we sometimes knocking on doors and sharing Christ. But that's part of our job. Yep. And just being a part of having to do what is necessary. And I love to see people come to Jesus.
Absolutely. Did you find a lot of resistance maybe amongst your peers, like fellow friends and things like that? Like, what are you doing taking this route? You can do anything you want to, and you're choosing ministry.
I did have that. I recall one of my classmates came to our church some years back, and as he stood up to do some form of words of encouragement to me, he made mention of how his family at some given point had discussions around the table about why would my family allow for me as a young person to get so far into that ministry before having a life, they called it having a life.
Yeah, right.
So with that, I do understand many probably were resistant, but they dealt with me in the way that they dealt with me, which is very respectfully, actually, for a young person.
Very
So
good.
I'm very impressed with my own people, how my classmates
Yeah,
and various other ones. Yes.
that's good. Very good. Um, so what college did you attend?
Well, I've attended several colleges. I attended Troy University
Okay.
once I
Okay.
left Waycross, and I got scholarship there, and I stayed there and worked with some churches there in the city of Troy,
Right.
Alabama.
Okay.
And then most recently, I was in Dothan this last weekend preaching in Dothan. I had been there as well, so it's
Wow.
kind of interesting to see the transitions and the movements with that. And then I went to Valdosta State,
Okay.
and then from Valdosta to Emory, or from Emory to Valdosta. I went to Emory University in Decatur, and I went to Candler School of Theology, where I
Okay.
went to get some of my training, Master's of Divinity, and moved from that to Truth Bible College after Valdosta, and went taking courses there as well. And my most recent experience has been with the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. So had an opportunity to train there and
Gotcha.
take some materials and do a capstone at the end, and
Right.
just most recently finished that.
Wow. So after we have high school, right? We have our grammar school years and everything. And then after we graduate, a lot of times people are like, okay, I'm done with school. I'm done with any kind of formal training or what have you. So what are your thoughts on that? On pursuing higher education again, whether it's at 4-year colleges, earning a bachelor's. Or an associate's or master's, doctorate, to as well as trade school. How important is that?
I think all education is important. I think life is a learning experience, and that as long as you're living, you're learning. You're
Yeah.
putting some information in. And to make one better, sometimes they have to go into studying. I'm a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
I believe in consistently bettering yourself and finding out tools and resources. I used to refer to myself as a curator of thought. My job is to take the thoughts of other people, sometimes not necessarily be fixed on those thoughts, but to utilize them as platforms or to step up and to go even
Right.
higher, because you learn from each other. For instance, I've enjoyed this conversation that we're having now because I'm learning more and more through my interaction with you. You're sharing parts of your life,
Right.
whereas I'm learning some of the steps that I would not have known.
Right.
But just to sit and listen, learning is most important for us. Education brings about what I say elimination of ignorance. If I can get educated in an area, I eliminate the ignorance about that area, and I'm not as judgmental and critical if
Right.
I know better. So then I go from education to elimination to here we are, elevation. So I'm going up higher in information. I
Yeah.
got more information. And I think that helps me as an individual to see that there are other thoughts beyond the thoughts that I've had.
Right.
And
Right.
so education is very important. I believe that my mom, of course, and I have not said this, but my mom was an educator. She taught English.
Okay.
So that was her job, and she did it for about 40 years. And so she continued to teach, but she taught at home as well. So that made us be very cognizant of what's going on around us, paying attention. She got us into these various things, groups and organizations, but it was all about educating us,
Right.
all about building us up and getting that mind continuously flowing and going.
Yeah.
And see, I think about like your young children who are learning and growing. They learn and grow, but they also experience things that they can teach others.
Right. Yeah.
Because some people don't have those wonderful experiences that they've had or have opportunity to share. So once they share those things, they're actually educators.
That's right.
And then when they get that information back, they become
That's
those
good.
who are helpful
That's
to
good.
others in the community.
One of the uh, in my principles and beliefs in my faith, one of the very few things. So after this life, right? We have all these belongings and so forth. We can't take them with us,
Yes, sir.
right? But what we do believe that we can take with us is the things that we've learned and the knowledge and everything that we've gained. So being a lifelong learner is a great aspiration to have, and
Yes.
to be able to share those things with others as well.
Well, when you say that, I think about some of the courses I teach now, and I tell them acquisition is one portion of it. That's acquiring the information, but application is the better part of it.
Yeah.
And so you remember things better when you can apply it than
That's
you
right.
do just memorizing information and going. But if you start putting it into practice, it becomes a part of you.
That's right.
So it's unforgettable.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. Um, any other thoughts on your youth, or anything, any experiences to share about your youth or anything?
One thing I love about my youth, I had a little brother that was with me all the time.
Okay.
And I'm Michelangelo, he's Mark Anthony.
Okay.
So we grew to, and he's the comedian, by the way.
Okay.
Like my mom and dad. So he has a good bit of both mom and dad. He can cook like mom and act up like dad.
Okay.
So that's the fun part. So growing up with him was amazing. He knew, he could tell when I was down or not feeling well, and he was that person that would come and talk to me and be there. And even though he was the little brother, he seemed like he was the big brother.
Okay. Yeah. Very good.
So growing up, and I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but anyway, growing up with having a little brother was good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a younger brother as well, and I think having siblings is good.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that grew up as a single child, and I get try and put this the best way I can. I feel bad for anybody that grows up as a single child. There's nothing like having a sibling, right? To whether it's to roughhouse with, to argue with,
yes,
but as you learn a lot, growing up with siblings.
Yes.
So for sure. How many siblings did you have?
Well, we grew up the younger ones, but
Okay.
they're all together 7 of us.
7. Okay.
So we're the babies of the family,
Gotcha.
and we grew up closer because we were the younger people, and our older brothers and sisters were much older than we are, so it put us in a position where we basically catered to each other. We were pretty much, mom dressed us alike, talked to us about the same,
right?
And I could think it, he say it.
Nice.
I mean, he pretty much was that connected to me that when I could think about a thing, and he could tell me what I'm talking about, what I'm thinking. So he's that way.
Very good.
I enjoyed growing up like that because sometimes I wanted to say things, but I wouldn't say it. But he was so bold.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's a genius. He's smart too. So that's the other side of it. He's able to say things in a way that other people like it, and they laugh. When I meet anyone that knows the two of us, the first thing they say is, "How's that Mark doing?" I say, "Well, he's doing very well." So he's the conversation most of the time.
Very good. Mm-hmm. Very good. So as you moved through college and continued your ministry and so forth, you found yourself, I guess, teaching at different schools.
Yes.
And education, everything. So maybe talk about that a little bit.
Well, initially it's kind of strange because my goal was to go into law.
Okay. Okay.
And I went to Troy University and I started taking courses, and I called mom back while I was there. I said, they don't have the courses I need for the law. And she said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I can teach." She said, "Well, consider that now. Remember, because teaching doesn't pay a lot, but you want to make sure you get what you want to do." So I said, "Well, I like history. I like political science. I like a few other subjects." I said, "I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to go into teaching politics."
Okay.
So political science and history were my undergrad degree at Troy, and so I had a dual major, and I worked on that for a season, and I graduated with high honors, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then when leaving there, I went back home, and my pastor encouraged me to go to theology school. So that's how I ended up at Emory University, working on the master's in divinity. So once finishing that, I went into Valdosta. And what did I major in? Well, social studies areas. So everything that was social behavior, I dealt with it. I ended up in the last few years, around 2019, started dealing at Valdosta, started working on sociology as a topic. And so that was a field of study, and ended up teaching at Coastal Pines Technical College here.
Okay.
Yeah. And so working there as a sociology professor, the first of their kind, of its kind there. And now I work with the state, with the technical colleges and systems of Georgia as their chairman of the psychology sociology area. So that's a fun piece for,
Nice.
on that. But I started out teaching school at the middle school as a substitute teacher. And a gentleman who was the teacher of a course that I was substituting for passed away. So they made me an extended sub, and I had just graduated from Troy.
Wow.
So I decided that I would just stick with it. And so Mom said, "Why are you leaving? You don't have to go anywhere else. You can stay here. You're in good company." Of course, her being comical, I stayed. And before I knew it, I was actually teaching social studies at the high school. And so I went from teaching there at the high school to becoming an administrator right at the same school.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So education has been consistent with me as far as the teaching, but it's always been in my hometown, in Waycross, that I've actually done most of my work. Now, since that time, working with Coastal Pines, I've actually begun to have opportunities to go to places like McIntosh County. Darien is where I teach some in the mornings. There's other places like Wayne County and Jessup, Bacon County, and Alma.
Right.
I've had opportunities to teach in Appleton County, in Baxley. So just various places because of the connection with Coastal Pines and teaching those courses. So it has given me a chance to interact, to mingle with, to mix with, and to meet a good number of people who have been influential, not only in my educational tour, but in me allowing others to be trained as well.
Wow. So you wanted to go to law school, or you wanted to be a lawyer?
I wanted to be an attorney.
You wanted to be an attorney, right? Okay. So maybe at what point do you okay, maybe that's not the path.
It happened to be once I started teaching.
Okay.
Once I started teaching, I recognized there was no reason to go back to that, to actually pursue that in the manner that I had desired to do, because otherwise I would be working for Thomas Simpson.
Right.
But yeah, so I really am impressed with his way of doing things. He's impressive anyway. But my thought there is, I recognized as a school teacher, I can influence more people in a positive manner.
Yeah, and I maybe getting back to that mentorship you were talking about, and being able to have a greater influence on a wider group of youth and individuals there, and young adults and so forth. So yeah, that's huge. And I know that educators. I don't know what the percentage is. You might can tell me from female educators to male educators. Do you know what it is? Or
the ratio seems to be about 3/4 female and 1/4 male.
Right. Yeah. But I think you need that. I think you need those male educators and those male influencers and so forth in front of the youth and the young adults and everything for sure.
I agree. I think it's the same thing in the home. When you have the male presence, somehow it influences and impacts both male and female in a positive way. I noticed that even with my tone of voice, which of course, just speaking to an animal has a different response than another person. And I'm friendly to all animals, it seems. When I walk my track, I have animals that follow me. I had a gentleman's dog see me and just run across the street and walk around the track with me. And I heard him say, "Isaac, you get back here." Well, Isaac was following me around the track. And no matter what, I find people's animals that are the same. They move by voice. And similarly, I believe that, as you said, the impact of the male presence is important.
Yeah. And we need it more and more these days, but a God-fearing male presence, right? Yes, a faithful male, in whether it's in the home, right? And you see this in homes where you may have a 2-parent home, but only the mom takes the children to church, right? And the dad, he stays back and does works in the shop or something like that, right? That's the church. Church isn't for me. Mom can take the kids, but I think statistics show that if the father is leading and taking his children to church, then the percentage of those children staying active and being faithful and following the Lord in their lives is so much higher.
You're correct, and I thank you for saying that, because the same thing. My papa, he actually attends the church that I pastor, and when I started there some years ago, he waited a while to see if I was going to be one of those persons who's going to stay or leave,
right?
And I stayed, so he joined where I am, and faithful to serve and to be there every week. So I teach a male class I was teaching men class on Monday nights, and he would be in the class, take his notes, go back home, have conversation with mom about what he learned, and
that's cool.
And it's always impressive to me, because that's my dad. And of course, Daddy now is 88, to be 89 this year, and nice. So he is an amazing man, and he not only is a comedian, but he's also a person of great character. He loves the Lord.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So yeah, any other thoughts or anything on education and kind of your process and earning your degrees or anything like that?
Yes, sort of, kind of. Yeah. I could say that the degrees were a side effect of discipline.
Okay.
And I believe that success, in a sense, comes from working on something to completion.
Yeah.
And I believe those degrees are a side effect of me having had opportunity to pursue the kind of mindset that I want to see in myself, but also those I'm coming in contact with.
Yeah. Maybe just adding to the discipline, having that self-discipline in your life, and being able to share that with others.
Yeah.
And so forth.
I think it shows dedication.
Yeah.
And when you are dedicated to a thing, I'm one of those persons, if I ever start a thing, I'm going to complete it.
Finish it.
Yeah. I believe in being a finisher, a closer, a person who ends probably better than I started. Right. I want to end well, and I begin well, but I want to end well as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's I like that. Being able to begin well, but more importantly, end well.
Yes.
Follow through with the different projects that we have in life. And you can apply that to life in itself. Ultimately, we're here striving to, return to the Lord and apply everything that He's done for us, and. It's a lot easier to start something, a lot harder to end it, to finish it and see it through, for sure. Especially when those tough times kick in and the challenges.
And they do.
Oh yeah.
I was, as a closing thought on the educational part, I took some courses, as I mentioned to you, at the Harvard Kennedy School.
Okay.
And it happened during the storms that we were having in Waycross. We had Hurricane Helene. We had various other things going on in the community that actually would impede upon the Wi-Fi and everything else and the towers and so forth, but to persevere even when knowing these things are going on. The storm is going on and I'm online. I'm in a group meeting,
right?
And having to, because you have to be in the class. And so the events and activities that were going on made me say to my colleagues, you can do this. If I can do it over here with the storm going on, and y'all can probably see behind me things blowing around, and lights flickering and flashing, that we are going to have to stick with what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah. And the enemy will come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. To try to dissuade us and to distract us, to disturb us, and ultimately destroy us. But in this end piece, I'm really glad that dedication and discipline are a part of making it be successful.
So I see you've got a book there.
Yes, I actually have written 3 books.
Okay.
And the first of them was called Trusting God to Supply Your Need. And in it is a book on faith. And this book actually just talks about various characters in the Bible who
Okay.
operated in faith, and it's a little small book so that if you were on a plane or somewhere, you probably could read through it. And the same with the other book, which I had an opportunity to teach in Japan, as I mentioned of it earlier with our president. And it got me an opportunity to kind of share, again, more faith with other people and how to deal with it. And lastly was a book, Just Because God Said It. This is just what people have said to me through the years.
Okay.
Say I sit down and talk with you as we're doing now.
Right.
And I'll go back and I'll write down every word you've said to me.
Okay.
So maybe I'll go and get the podcast, get online, and this is before there was AI and all the other
right. Yeah,
helps.
that's right.
So,
yeah,
as you can tell, and so I would take the information and put it together and create a book.
So are you a journal? Like, do you journal?
I'm a journalist.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy doing that because at the end of the day, I like to remind myself of what took place.
Right.
And if something were to ever happen to me, someone else could see exactly what steps I've taken to help them, if need be, to persevere.
That's good.
And
That's
persist
good.
in days to come.
I'm a journaler. I'm a journaler as well.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 16 years old, my grandfather he built personalized boxes for his grandchildren when they turned 16.
Wow.
And so when I turned 16, I was looking forward to this thing. He handed me this box, and it was a excuse me, it was a box you had to figure out how to get in. So it was locked, right? But it wasn't locked with just a simple key, right, or a combination lock. It had a magnet, and the lock was somewhere on that box, on opening the lid and everything. So it took a little bit of time for me to figure out how to open the thing. And then in that box, it had different compartments, and the same thing, you had to figure out how to open it. And then down at the very bottom was the last compartment that I opened was an empty journal, and a letter in there. And he encouraged me to journal my experiences in life. And so I've been and like anything, I've been up and down over the years, but for the most part, I've got a stack of journals like that where I've written down experiences that I've had, during my lifetime. I think that does a couple of things. One, it preserves kind of our personal history.
That's correct.
Right, for our children and grandchildren and so forth. But also, it's a great therapy session to be able to,
yes.
to write things out. And one of the things that I've done over the years, and I really apply this in my parenting. I wish I was a perfect parent. I'm not. I wish I was a perfect dad. I'm not. And so when I have experiences, with my children or with my wife, where I feel like, okay, I wasn't the man that I wanted to be during that time, or I wasn't the dad that I needed to be. And so I'll do a kind of a self-assessment, where I'll write about that experience. Okay. And okay, where could I have done better in that specific experience, that I just had, and so forth. So journaling is great. So that's awesome that you do that.
It's amazing that you said all that, because when you do an assessment, each one of these has like dates assigned to them.
Okay.
So the day that the person that spoke, and the information, I would write it down, and I go back and I would read it, whether you want to believe this or not. The interesting thing is that my life seems to actually be an unfolding book to me. And Paul says that we are written epistles, for men to read. And so when many times people see me, they don't know that I'm actually living a lot of what the Lord had already spoken over me through other people, such as yourself. I'm appreciative, though, for journaling. Journaling helps. You said something about an assessment, and I think the assessment actually shows you what your new assignment is.
Yeah.
And once you see your new assignment that comes out of it, and sometimes it's just a matter of going back and reflecting over the old assignment.
Right.
But now I say, okay, I got to sharpen, shapen, and show myself, okay, this is a little bit better, Michel-Angelo. You got to do better in this area. And one of the areas that I really want to sharpen is my prayer life. I pray, but I want it to be stronger.
Yeah.
I want it to be where I am pleasing to Him in every respect when it comes down to prayer. But prayer is my communication with the Lord. And that's where a lot of my information comes from, through prayer. But I believe that the more I pray and the more I give in, the more power comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we used to say it, little prayer, little power.
Yeah, exactly.
No prayer, no power, but much prayer, much power.
That's
and I
right.
just believe that the power of the Lord comes through us when we pray.
For sure. If we show the Lord that we know we are dependent upon Him, I think us will be that much more willing to help us, to lead us, and to guide us in our different endeavors and everything.
You know, when I think about the power in our names, you may not think about it in the same way that you will in days to come, but God has a great message on your life just by you walking in and out of a place. People pay attention to you, even if you don't know they do, and then they honor the God on you, the presence of the Lord on your life. Yeah. And one thing, you don't have to. You're not pretentious. You don't show. You're not showy, but the light of God shines on you, and that's the wonderful thing.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much. Yeah, sure.
Well, somebody's probably told you. Thank you so much for being you, because if it had not been for you at that particular time, I don't think I would have made it.
Yeah. Wow. That we have in our church we have a specific blessing that we can receive from patriarchs, and it's the only blessing where that's written down and that's recorded. And so we have a local patriarch here in the area, and he services the Kingsland. Sounds like my son Chase is getting some work done out there. Anyway, so Kingsland, Jessup, Waycross, Hilliard, Fernandina, and Brunswick areas is what we call a stake, right? So we have one patriarch per stake. And I received my patriarchal blessing when I was 18, 19 years old. Awesome. And so I'm able to go back and refer to that blessing. Well, in that blessing, it talks about being a light to my peers, a light to those that are around me and surround me and everything and stuff. So, yeah, appreciate you sharing that.
You're actually doing just what it said.
Yeah, yep. And if we all try to do these self-assessments, right? If we all tried to do what you talked about earlier and continually improve upon ourselves, as well as improve the communities and everything, world would be a much better place.
Say so. I agree.
Helping each other out.
I agree. It takes, as they used to say in some of the statements, it takes a village to raise a person.
That's right.
It takes all of that, someone else looking at us and saying, okay, just walk a little bit on this side, because just as you helped me adjust my microphone, just small things can make big moves.
That's right.
Yeah. So whether we believe it or not, just paying attention to even your demonstration, you're showing me how to do a thing. That is helpful, and people need those kinds of educational moments.
Right. That's cool. I love it. So you got your degree. Or I guess I should say a degree. Was that your bachelor's that you got into political science? Is that right? Or
right, that was political science and history.
That was political science and history. So at what point do you start turning to public service in the government and everything?
Oh wow! Well, being that I was teaching it, it's one thing. The theory is another thing.
That's right.
And going back to my comment earlier about having the opportunity theoretically to do a thing and then practically doing it is
two different
things. Actually. Well, the stranger piece is that I was at a prayer meeting, going back to talking about prayer. The prayer was the National Day of Prayer, and several of us ministers got together at the city hall to pray. And so I was up praying, and I think my specific area was praying for government.
Okay.
And after I finished doing what I did, and I went down and greet the people down on the steps of City Hall, the mayor at the time happened to be a brother of mine, and he says, "Have you considered running for mayor? Because this is my last year."
Okay.
And I thought, no.
Hadn't crossed my mind.
No, it didn't really cross not me. But then later on, the HR director came up to me and she mentioned the same thing. And she mentioned that, you ought to run for mayor. Because I was teasing when I went to her. I said, "What kind of jobs do you have for somebody like me?"
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And so she says, "Well, we got a mayor job opening up, and you might want to consider running for mayor." And I laughed. She says, "I'm serious. Even though you're laughing, I'm serious about the whole matter." And that's what actually was the germ or the seed that was sown in order for me to start considering politics.
Okay. So was that something that you kind of prayed about and
yes.
kind of went through a process of trying to really figure out, okay, is this something that I really want to do? And maybe even before then, how much did you pay attention to politics and the political process?
Because political science was my area, I'm always into it. I remember, and you probably weren't here yet, but I remember as far back as sitting down in front of the television, making notes on the inaugural speeches of presidents.
Okay. Wow.
And at the end, doing the state of the union, state of the city, state of all those types of things, I was jotting notes down.
Right.
Now, because I'm a journaler, I have a tendency sometimes, whatever I'm focused on, I take a lot of notes regarding it. And then I come back later on to strengthen my writing, because I do recognize if it gets cold, I may not remember what phrase was supposed to be added to that comment, because sometimes I do it more along the lines of a stenographer type,
Right.
But when I finished having that conversation around being in politics with those two people, I took it to my brothers, the ministry. So at the time, there was a gentleman who also ran for government, governmental office. His name was Bill Mullis. And Bill was pastor of the Primitive Baptist Church in Waycross. And at the time, I mentioned it to him because he's like a mentor to me. So I went to him and I said, "Well, what are you thinking if I were to run for office? Could I glean your support?"
Yeah.
So he and the brothers got together, be Donnie and Keith and various ones of us, and they got together and they were talking. And they said, "Brother Michel-Angelo, I think you would be a good mayor. You'll do a good job." So I said, "Brothers, I need y'all to lay hands on me. Pray for me."
Sure.
And they did. Okay. They prayed for me. We were at Jerry J's in Waycross, Georgia, right there on Plant Avenue. And we were having our Wednesday devotional. And so they prayed with me and prayed over me. And I decided, if the Lord wills, if it's his will, he'll open the door for me to be the mayor. If it's not his will, then he'll shut the door. Right. So my prayer to God was, and is always, when I get ready to go into a new endeavor and I'm not quite as certain as I would like to be, I'll say, "Father, if it's your will for me to do this, would you open the door for me and put all the resources that are necessary there for me to do well, because I want to represent you well, because you said in your word to let my light so shine before men that they may see the good work and glorify you. And so I want to do this in your name and only for you." And by having prayed that prayer and felt comfortable enough to go ahead and qualify, I did. And the rest is history.
Nice. So did you have to give up any other aspects of your like teaching or anything like that? Like how much did that, I guess, change or have to adjust?
Strangely, it did not interact or interrupt anything. It just was an additional movement,
responsibility and stuff. So
think about the church. The only time that I actually have to miss my services in Waycross would be in the months of January and June, once a month. Okay. So it's 2 times out of a year, out of 52 weeks in a year, those 2 weeks. But the strangest thing, when I got to the GMA, the Georgia Municipal Association, how about they asked me to do the devotions on those Sundays that I'm going. So I ended up being the person making the presentation. How they knew I was a preacher? Someone from Waycross actually said, "Hey, he's a preacher."
Yeah, that's right.
And they gave me an assignment. So I ended up doing
it follows you, right?
I'm telling you, my
that's
brother,
awesome.
it does.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe if you don't mind, or if there's anything else that you'd like to talk about leading up to that, or maybe we can talk about maybe your role as mayor a little bit. Would that be all right?
That'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great.
So maybe what were the expectations? What was your view? You know, going into that role. Politics is not an easy not an easy place to be,
No,
right?
sir, not at
To
all.
be an individual that's voted in, you know, to serve. Um, yeah, so maybe just kind of talk about expectations, things that you maybe going in, you know, wanted to accomplish, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit.
Oh, very good. One of the things that I really thought about, I used to call it my story. There's an old song called Blessed Assurance. And it said, "This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long.
Right.
Heir of salvation, purchased by God, born of His Spirit, washed in His blood. This is my story." So the story that is behind it, each one of those letters from the S to the Y was my expectation. And to go into the office, I knew that I needed to get a survey of what the people I'm going to be serving needed.
Okay.
So one of the things that I focused on was the book, the charter. And I treated that charter about like I do my Bible. I read through it and I make highlights, I write notes in the margins, I go back through it, and I wanted to make sure that I knew my role before stepping into the role. So I studied it before I became a part. So the S was not only to survey, but to study. So I studied it, and one of my expectations was to make sure that I was clear when I come before the people to talk to them. So the T was my talking points. What am I going to be talking about?
Right.
One of the major issues that I had dealt with organizational things. How do you deal with this organization as a city? Well, no mayor in most cities in our area are as powerful as they would like to be. They don't
Right.
have that power. They're actually in the city of Waycross. Our governmental setup is that we are a manager council commission. So that government is like that. So what you would have considered, somebody say, a weak mayor. The weak mayor means that you don't set the budgets, you don't do these particular things. There are certain things you don't do. You're not in charge of the department heads.
Right.
That's the city's manager's job.
Okay.
So I learned all of the things before I got in, or at least I had a good, I want to say, an overview
Right.
of what I should and should not do. And then the next part of it, I believe, was so important for me was to make sure that I regulate my relationships with the other groups that I'm in so that no one thinks that because you're in office, now we get to tell you what to do.
Right.
Well,
Right.
that's not how it works.
Right.
Because the government itself is already set in place. There's a step-by-step process that you have to go by. But lastly, in the work story, because I've told you this, the survey, the talking points, the organization, and then, of course, the relationships. The last piece was the why, which would be the youth. And I want to see youth grow and become and have the experience of government. I know civics is not taught in our schools like it used to be when I was a young person. But what we decided to do was create something called a Mayor's Youth Council. And in that Mayor's Youth Council, the young people get exposure to what actually takes place behind the dais.
Okay.
And so I actually give them a scenario, and we work as if we were taking them through the process of dealing with a city council meeting or a commission's meeting. And they sit behind the dais with their information before them, and we go step by step.
Okay.
And that way they got the chance to be availed to information that they would not have known prior to that point. That also gives them a chance to go out and teach the community what can and cannot be done and why we do some of the things that we do. And of course, later on in time, we're certainly going to allow for them as as advisors to our council to tell us some of the things that they see going on that we can be of help to them in regard to, especially in the school system.
Right. Right. So so when you have that youth council that you
Yes.
said, okay, maybe how many are there?
This last year, we had between 13 and 15 students
Okay.
that were a part, and they came from Ware County High School. And we even had one student that was homeschooled.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So be a part of it. And I thought it was very important that we open the door to our youth so that they can see the workings of it. And they start from ages from grade 9 all the way to grade 12.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. And so did you say you're giving them kind of a scenario or something?
Right.
And
They have a scenario that they go through, but what it is a simulation.
okay.
In that simulation, they actually are going through a meeting. I serve as a narrator. So I'm actually, they have before them a narrative that is sitting there, and I'm reading my portion and helping them. And I say, all right, Mayor, ribbon cutter,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and so Mayor Ribbon Cutter hits the gavel, starts the meeting, and then each one of the persons from the city manager to the city attorney, they all get to play each one of those roles.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's what a wonderful experience that is for the youth to be able to see kind of the behind the scenes and
Mhm.
how the government operates.
That's true.
And everything. So, and you said was that something that you had started or continued?
Right,
Or
we started.
Okay.
This is our first year as having one was the year 2021.
Okay.
And this would be right after the COVID event and all the other
Yeah.
activities like that. And so I was really excited because our city at that time was only 47, maybe 47 years old at the time, 147 years old. So at our 150th anniversary of the city of Waycross and the 200th year of our county, Ware County, we were able to see a lot of young people interacting. This last year was amazing. Last year was amazing. The group that just graduated, we had at least 6 graduates from the high school. So we were excited about getting new
That's right.
members into it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. But yes, it's just that simulation or that scenario was very helpful to get them to feel what it feels like to be in charge.
Yeah,
of a
that's
meeting.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
being the one in charge. That's
it's not easy.
No, that's a
easy.
tough spot. So maybe what are some sacrifices that come with being in public office?
Well, one of the things is even in your oath of office, the oath of office says that you're going to demean yourself. That means that you're going to come out of that means you're not you anymore.
Right.
You are public property.
Okay. Yeah.
So at any given point, someone can stop you to talk to you about pretty much anything they want to talk to you about in the tone of voice that they like to talk to you in, depending on how they're feeling that day.
Right.
So that's quite interesting. I had some interactions with people that I had not anticipated having, but I like civic engagement. So I do allow for people to, ask questions and talk to me and go at me however they choose and then show them how to kind of walk through that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So you're, as a public servant, when you're, so like, for example, if you go out to eat, right, and you're sitting at a table,
you're not going to eat by yourself.
You're not eating by yourself, right? Yeah.
No, because there are going to be people to join you.
Yeah.
They'll join you with their issues and areas of concern. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how often are people more willing to come up and say, this is what's going wrong versus this is the good things that are happening?
It's a combination, but you're going to get probably the side of what we want to see versus what we are seeing. Right. Even if there's something positive, someone will find something in it that needs to be fine-tuned, which is helpful. I mean, we get to find our blind spots.
Yeah.
We don't always see everything. And sometimes someone around us can see something we did not see that we can work on to sharpen, shape, and make things better for the city.
Yeah. So are you able to share any of the things that maybe that you wanted to, anything additional that you wanted to try and bring to the city or what have you, and maybe some things that maybe haven't gone as well as you have hoped? And go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
It's a good question, and if I'm hearing it correctly, the question is on the lines of things I desire to see that have not transpired and hopefully will before I get out of office.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that I am excited about is bringing in businesses.
Okay.
Our city's downtown has grown tremendously, which I'm thanking God for.
Right.
The idea to see those buildings filled with great, vibrant businesses,
right,
is helpful. We love to see our young people as well as our young at heart starting their building, starting their work, and seeing them progress and become. the idea that we have a merchants association, a downtown development association, all these are helpful for the growth. But we also have economic development, which has been very helpful. But overall, there have been some things that we wanted to see that we have not seen, like, for instance, in our mall area. We want to see more things go in,
right,
so that the people who live closer to the mall are able to go in. And plus, it assists with funding for things like roads and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We get the sales tax monies. But it's amazing to me. One of the things that we were told, we had a building or a business that was supposed to come in industry-wise that did not come.
Mm.
And it didn't say it's not coming. It's just that it has not come at the time frame that we thought it would. And that was in 2023. And groundbreaking would have taken place in 2025. And here we are, 2026. And there was nothing
Still haven't
done.
happened.
Right. So that was a little bit of a off-putting a bit. But other than that, I would say that various other things are hopefully coming in days to come. I see, if you can see in the city of Waycross, what's really a blessing to me is that even though we still have blight, those blighted buildings are either being sold or coming down or replaced with something that's going to be helpful to our community. Alongside that, we're seeing more housing coming up, which I'm really excited about. I was passing on one of our city streets, I think it was Bay Street or somewhere along the way, and then I saw on Brunel, various places are going up, and they're looking beautiful.
Yeah, they are. I drove by there the other day.
It doesn't look good.
It looks really good.
And I like to see growth and process and progress coming on in the city of Waycross, because the ultimate end goal has been to see us thrive and survive and become everything that a person who's outside want to come in and say, listen, I would love to live in Waycross, Georgia, but there's nowhere to stay.
Right. Okay.
So now we have people say, I would love to stay in Waycross, Georgia, and I love these buildings that you have here. It looks wonderful. Yeah. So that's the mindset that I see, that I feel much better about. But hopefully more housing, hopefully more vibrant businesses, and more youth coming back to our cities and creating their own things. Some things, I think one of the expectations of the city is to create entertainment for the young people and that kind of thing, but that's not our area. The area of the government has never been about those kinds of things. It's been the legislative portion of it is to create policy to open doors so you can bring your entertainment to the location.
Right, exactly. For the businesses to be attracted to come to the area, for sure.
I love the idea of interacting with my county counterparts, talking to them, and spending time interacting with people so I'll know specifically what is needed, whether it be our Board of Education or our county or our city and various other entities that come together. I like the idea that we are able to move as a team into getting things done for the city of Waycross and the county of Ware. Right. Because we are one.
That's great that you're working with the county, back and forth. I mean, I don't see.
Well, you see, we're having to connect because think about the railroads.
That's right. Yeah,
and the various things that we're having to, like the bypasses that are being developed and put in place. Right. Because you got to come through the city.
That's right.
And you want to make sure that the trains are not stopping people from being able to get where they need to be and that kind of thing. And we're very grateful to GATX and CSX for what they do, but we also want to make sure we got a way of getting around to get to our jobs and to our stay places.
So I got two questions for you, kind of with a couple of things that you said there. With the downtown area, are you more interested in having the businesses that's not focused on entertainment, or is it more interesting to have an entertainment type downtown vibrant area where people are attracted to come into downtown to spend the weekend, the Friday nights and Saturday nights and things like that?
I love what you just said there, but the question itself is so beautifully sent. The thought at the end, everybody being able to be entertained, yes, and it's vibrant, but we want foot traffic downtown. You want people to walk around. You want them to enjoy themselves. You want to have a family atmosphere, entertainment, yes. We have a place downtown that individuals can go in and golf,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
I love that kind of
That's
thing because that gives the experience of a downtown.
That's right.
So you can still go into the shopping areas and purchase food. You can go from that to purchasing clothes, from that to getting your hair cut, from that
Right.
to getting, in the case of the ladies, with their nails being done and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So whatever needs to be done would all be like a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
You're just kind of walking around and enjoying yourself. And our downtown is historic.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful space, a beautiful place. And individuals who will come to Waycross, I'm certain that they will enjoy being able to go into places and see people there like themselves. Hey, what are you doing here? This is my business. Come on in.
Right.
And they say, well, how did you start? And that gives them a chance to do it. Downtown now, our business integration and information technology director, Simmons, has created a booklet so that it's like one-pagers. So if you need to do something downtown, you want to fill out that form to start your business. It even gives you step-by-step processes to help you, because we need people to be assisted in doing what they want to see done.
Right.
Alongside that, we have some courses like the Government 101. So you can come to Waycross City Hall and learn step by step some of the things that go on in the city, because some people don't know what Waycross is doing.
Right.
But we're doing wonderful stuff, awesome things. And if you don't know it, you just don't know it. You're missing a treasure.
That's right.
So hopefully the people who come near us will get to enjoy the blessing of some people training them resourcefully. I saw a young guy, he's only about 25 years old. He's teaching financial literacy.
Okay. And this is part of the downtown training.
He's a part of the chamber, but he's also a part of Rotary. He's a part of Exchange. He's become a part of all these various organizations so that he can share the message that you don't have to be impoverished because we are known to be poor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder, you'd mentioned kind of the bypass, the road and everything. And there's a big debate on what the bypass would do to the downtown area. Some say it would kill it because everybody would go or would just kill Waycross in general because you're going around, right? And then the other people say, well, it attracts businesses, it attracts industrialized or manufacturing and everything, which would bring in more people, which would bring in more businesses and more opportunities for downtown. So what are your thoughts on that? And do you have maybe
I'm glad
thoughts
that you made mention of that, because my thinking was more along the lines of those overpass that will get the people over the trains or around the trains.
Right, yes. Okay.
But when it comes down to that bypass, I think the community did not want certain things that overwhelmingly, when the vote came in, it was a no versus a yes.
Right.
But the goal of our county has always been to try to get things, the big trucks not to go downtown and mess up the roads, because the infrastructure is so important. And when you think about what's underground versus what we're traveling on top of, we don't know it.
Right.
And so if someone's under there fixing up those things, they know what's there. And so I think the main goal for me has been to make it more readily available for everyone to get from place to place without the stress of having been stopped for lengthy periods of time and not be able to get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And I will commend both GATX and CSX on working more readily to help us, because they've removed some tracks from within the city limits so that it's easier to kind of traverse from one part of town to the other without struggle.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll share. Hey, you've heard have you seen any of these apps where you create AI songs? These AI music and everything.
I have seen some.
Yes.
Like that. It's usually Christian music.
Yeah. Right. So I've got I've got a brother, 2 brothers-in-law, and a father-in-law that all work for CSX.
Awesome.
So they're heavily involved here in the in the rail community, and of course several friends and everything. Anyway, I took this AI app and created a song about trying to get through Waycross. Right? Give me just a second. I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna pull this up real quick and let you let you hear it. I'll play just a short section of it here. Let me see here. See, this is it. It's called Locomotive Slowdown. Let's see.
Caught in traffic by the train again. Red lights on a railroad town. Not enough overpasses around. I'm staring at those boxcars now. My coffee's gone cold in the cup. I'm watching my whole plan stall. The locomotive caught me up right where the main street curls and falls. I've been turning the wheel. I've been checking every side road. Every shortcut I know ends at the same old gate. Looking for another route, another route, another route. I keep missing my move. That locomotive caught me again. Looking for another route, another route, another route. If there's a way through this town, I need it now. I need it now.
Anyways, yes, it's just kind of funny about
It
constantly looking for
Exactly.
another route.
And you can.
Yeah.
And the funny part, as we were listening to that, I was thinking about my situation. I'm actually within about 2 minutes away from, well, I'll say 4 minutes away from the church.
Okay.
But there's a train track.
Right.
Actually, 3.
That you got to cross.
The 3 tracks are on one location.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So I can see the church, but I can't get there.
Get there. Right.
From my side, I have to go all the way out to our corridor, the 520 connector,
Right.
and come out and
Yeah.
come back in to the other side to get in. Because my church, our church is in the county,
Right.
and I live in the city, but it's just the one little line across. And it can be right. And I told one of the saints there, I said, listen, I said, isn't it strange? I said, now, as soon as I crank this car up, the train will start.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
And it stopped me from getting across. So there's no train on the track at this moment, but there will be one in a moment.
Yeah, for sure. So aren't there 2 overpasses in the works or in the
Yes,
plans? And
yes.
that's the one over on Ossie Davis,
Mhm.
and then where's the other one?
Albany Avenue.
Albany Avenue.
And that's
Okay.
right exactly where that
That's
church
where-
sits. My
yeah.
church sits right in the midst of those 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in the Deanwood area.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is there an expected
Beginning-
time frame as far as starting to finish?
There should be something in our local news as of yesterday's newspaper. Matter of fact, it would be today's Wednesday, so it'll be today's newspaper. It should be front page.
Okay.
It'll be front page news. So you should get some conversation around some of the things that are getting ready to take place that are starting now. A good number of buildings or businesses are having to redirect themselves, even be moved in order for that project
Process.
to be done.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's going to take a little bit, and you have to talk to the people that's in charge
Yeah.
of those buildings, and you actually have to take care of some financial
Right.
obligations with them
Yeah.
as well.
Very good. Yeah, that downtown area. So with my work, I'm in claims. I do property claims,
Mhm.
and so I do about a 2.5 hour radius around Waycross. So I'm in these other little towns and so forth, and some of them have kind of vibrant downtowns, and other ones are maybe not so much.
Mhm.
But I just I wonder maybe. And I've seen the growth that's taken place
yes.
over the last several years and everything, but would love to be able to have. I hope that people and businesses will continue to be attracted
Mhm.
to continue to grow the area, versus kind of continuing to spread out a little bit.
Mhm.
Kind of bring it back to that downtown area because like you said earlier, it's a beautiful downtown.
Oh yes,
It really is.
it is. And when I was a child, I used to love the roads are made of brick. If you go downtown,
Right.
right
Yep.
in front of Phoenix, there's the brick roads.
Right.
Now they're
Yep.
not yellow brick,
Right. Yeah.
but they're brick.
Yeah.
They're red brick, and they're just nice. So if we were to maintain as we are those roads and make sure everything is easily entered and exited without struggle and stress, it would be awesome. And I believe that's happening. I'm appreciative to our city's manager who has actually worked very diligently in putting stop signs in proper places so that people can get by without being run over by someone else.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But it's really good.
That's awesome.
Really good.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. What other things have you actually been working on as far as downtown? I know you said you're working in claims.
Yes. Yeah, claims. So I mean, I don't have anything specific to do with with downtown, but I handle property claims, liability claims from storms, fires, pipe breaks, vehicle hitting a house, and things like that. I know Thomas Simpson is heavily involved there. He's got the his office is downtown there, right. So he's invested in the downtown area.
To him.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. I do have one other question. One is kind of a hot topic question for you, if that's okay.
That's fine.
One that's you see Facebook, you post and things like that and everything. But but one of the questions that I did want to ask about is the Confederate soldier issue there and everything, and so just kind of want to get your thoughts on that. And I guess it was put in around 1910. 1910. And maybe what the thought process is kind of behind that, and then maybe where you see that going.
Well, that's a good question. Matter of fact, at this point, back in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was either between 21 and 23, that the commission voted for the removal of both the cannon and the soldier. And they want to redo the downtown space there. And they want to have either the daughters or the sons to move it to a more heritage-like space.
Right.
The unique thing is, I think because we are human and we say things, people hear what we say but not fully understand what we're saying, it became contentious.
Right.
As opposed to everybody coming to the table and just talking and say, hey, we can do this and we can do that. Right. Instead of doing that, it became a contention. So with that, I believe at this juncture that there's some things in the workings where they're communicating now. And I think it's still in the hands of the not legislators, but in the hands of judicial.
Right now. Yeah.
So we're just waiting.
Yeah.
But my thinking is that it should work out well. Everything's going to work itself out because we are Waycross.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are Ware County, and we have the ability to work as a team.
Yeah.
And as a bridge builder, one of the things that I think about, let's do something that's going to help us, not something that's going to destroy what we're trying to create and build.
Yeah.
So I think with the right people sitting at the table, everything will work itself out.
Yeah, I do too. I think that if everybody's willing just to communicate with each other, and I think you have to have almost a win-win and a lose-lose, to come out to because I don't think you're not going to have everybody at the table completely agree, with everything. And so I think about something like this, where I can completely understand where for people that want to have it removed. I understand why, for sure. And then on the other side, you're talking about, just, honoring, history, right? And also remembering history, right? Remembering where we came from, where that part of the history is not a good history. It's not something that's, fun to look at. But I think there's an importance in remembering where we came from to prevent mistakes and going back and everything. So I just think in my head, so how do you satisfy, kind of both sides of it? One of the things that I've thought about is almost creating maybe another statue to honor those who did live in slavery and so forth. And I almost think of a Confederate soldier, a statue, a Confederate soldier, and a slave with their arms around each other, right? Represent maybe where we've come, because we're obviously don't live in those times and everything, but something that would show we're together, we're a community of one, and trying to work towards a greater future for everyone, that's true. And stuff and so forth. So
I think that's a good idea, and just listening to you communicate that. One of the things that I noticed with people in our community, there are those persons who like to focus on what negative thing is going on versus the positive.
Right.
But there's this group of people like yourself who thinks of a way that can say, hey, let's coalesce, let's work together as a team and do something cooperatively. I do believe that there are the higher thinking people who will believe that there's something good can come out of all of it. Yeah. So I initially did not want to even address that issue, not while sitting in my seat as a mayor, but I felt like it should be something that should have been dealt with the people before it becomes something we deal with as a legislature.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. But you can always see some suns rays coming through the clouds.
Yeah.
Some of these things make it better.
And that's just the tough part of being in office, and having to kind of deal with those uncomfortable conversations and situations.
More uncomfortable ones than you want to believe sometimes.
I imagine it is, man. So I ran for Brentwood County Board of Education back in 2020. I didn't win win the post. And I think I will eventually try and run for office again. But just not right now. I think you do need. I wish I could have the quote readily available, but it's something towards the effect of, when good men are not willing to step up and take responsibility and do things, evil men will. Evil men will. That's exactly right. And so we have a responsibility. God-fearing individuals have a responsibility to step up, be more involved. There's nothing more that I would love to do than just kind of only have to worry about my stuff, right, or my situation. But if we all do that, then everything really starts to erode and decay, and we find ourselves in situations we don't want to be in.
Well, that's how I end up in office,
Right.
Seeing the gaps.
Right, exactly.
Seeing the division, seeing those areas that seem to be broken and beaten down, and the bruised people in the community. And I said, here we are trying to help. So how does this help? How does that help? What can we do to make things better? And that becomes a question that in a group of people, everybody's response is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But even with that, we can take all those parts and pieces and put together and create an answer. Yeah. That's best for our community. Very good. I think just put everybody at the table and say, hey, let's talk.
That's right.
We deal with that with our unsheltered population as well as various other groups of people in our communities.
Well, I've almost taken up all your time here. Are there any topics or anything I haven't asked that you would like to bring up and share?
I want to talk about being mayor because my time is running.
Okay.
And in this case, I'm going to eventually have to pass the baton.
Right.
Because as a mayor in the city of Waycross, you only have 2 terms that you can run consecutively.
Okay.
And after that, you have to step down, and you can't run again until another term is over.
Okay.
But in the time frame that I've had, I feel that there's some great things that have taken place. I'm really excited about the camaraderie that I've seen and experienced, not only in our community, but regionally, from our regional commission to our governor, who's also come to Waycross multiple times.
Right.
Yeah. And to see senators from both federal and state, as well as representatives, congresspersons, coming into our community and being helpful. What can we do to help you? What can we do? Especially when we went through the storms. You're thinking of FEMA and GMA and various other groups coming in. When you can see entities coming together as a team, that is the thing. And I pray that as as we go off the scene, that we pass the baton to someone who has a love for our community.
Yeah.
Who really is willing to put up with a good number of things. Because what you think you're going to do when you're sitting in the office, when you come to the office, you may not be able to do some of those things because your hands are tied to specifics. The rules are already there before you arrive.
Yeah.
Now you got to walk within those rules. And if you try to change those rules will change you.
Wow. Yeah. And I bet that has to be really frustrating to have something that you feel like would be of great benefit to the community, you feel like could really work, but for whatever reason, politics, red tape, whatever it is, you can't really push forward. That has to be frustrating, I'm sure.
It is. You recognize that the governmental wheels run very slowly.
Yeah.
You may have a good idea and maybe it even has been approved, but when it actually comes to fruition, maybe years down the line. So you've heard about it, so when is that happening?
Right. Yeah. You said so, this,
and it is happening, but there are steps and stages that have to be accomplished before it actually manifests. And it's process. There's always process to progress. You have to go step by step before you get to that thing. And that progress is the step.
Yeah.
So if you celebrate each step, make it fun.
That's
make
right.
it happy.
Yeah.
And then go forward. But the hardest choice, I think, is to deal with limited resources.
Okay.
You have certain things, certain amounts of funding can come in from different places, but you got to know where to sit it and where to place it, and then know how to use it wisely. And
right.
At the end of the day,
being a good steward.
A good steward of the things that God has given you, the time, your talent, your treasure. Those things have to be dealt with wisely and well.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty much how I like to think about it. Be patient with people because they're going to make some mistakes and they're going to make some errors. But you also need to be perceptive. Pay attention to what's going on around you. And then lastly, be purposeful.
Yeah.
Do everything with purpose and design. God has a purpose. I like Jeremiah 29 and 11. I know that verse is really dealing with a lot of struggle that Jeremiah was dealing with in that time. But God has good plans for us to do us well.
Right. And
not evil. There is a great expected end coming. And I believe we're going to see it together. I believe that hopefully I'll be able to look over there and say, I see Brother Jackson.
That's right.
And he's going to, I hope he runs for he's going to have to he's got to do his job.
That's right. Yeah.
Accomplish those things because our young people are coming up behind us.
Yeah.
And they need to see our example. And as you said earlier in our conversation regarding the male role and the godly male role, when they see you doing well, they're going to do well.
That's right.
They know they can do it because they saw you do it.
That's right.
Keep the light burning, sir.
That's right. Absolutely. I got two final short questions for you. Number one, if people want to get involved in the government and we want them to even more in the process and so forth, what's your advice on the best way to get involved? Maybe outside of voting, right?
Right.
Vote. Number one, vote.
Yes.
And then maybe number two, how do you take an active role?
Please come to meetings.
Okay.
See what is needful. Be a part of boards, commissions. Be appointed onto something. Let people know you're interested. We have like the Housing Authority Board. We have there's just several boards out there. But whatever board there is available and you're interested in, feel free to do it. Go online to waycrossgeorgia.gov. There's a listing of all the events and activities that go on in the community. Be a part of those things. Volunteer. Get your name out there. Get your face in there.
Right.
Let people see you and see that you're interested and be willing to work. Because once you put your boots on the ground to work,
that's right.
Yeah, people will notice that and they will be willing to say, hey, I think you'd be good in this position.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. Closing question. what's your message to people who maybe don't know you on a personal level, as you fulfill this role as mayor? What do you want people to know about you, and kind of how you live your life and how you run, or how you handle your role as mayor?
I am a son of Waycross. I believe that in doing anything, pray, get direction, make sure that you have good colleagues who can also make you accountable, who will sharpen you, who will look at you and say, listen, let's get it together, brother. But one of the things I've learned, and the thing that I love most about being me, is that I have a team of people like my family who surround me, and they tell me honestly what I need to hear. They don't sugarcoat it. They come full blast with everything they're thinking. And with that thought in mind, be willing to put up with whatever. I think having grown up in the home that I grew up in, I was made the person I've become. And in spite of all of my flaws and frailties and weaknesses as a person, being developmentally challenged by several things, on the other side of that, no one even knew some of the things because I was always braced by a good family. Someone had my back, so I could lean up against them when it felt like falling out. But in this case, I would say make sure to always stay faithful, focused, and look at your family for guidance and guarding it. They'll guard you, but they also will guide you too.
That's right.
Yeah, I love how our family does things, even from a distance. I have people who live in Wayne County. You know, I have family that live in Appleton County. They watch me. They pay attention, and they make note and say, this is what you can do to make things better. And so I would say, if you didn't know Michel-Angelo James and you got to meet him, one thing he will be is a person who's willing to listen to you.
Okay.
I'll listen because listening helps me learn. And then learning helps me to lead. If I listen to you, I can learn from you what I need to do, and then I can lead in those areas. But until I know, I don't know. So
I like it.
I thank you for the opportunity.
I like it. Absolutely. Very good. Mayor James, thank you so much for spending some time with me and everything.
Awesome.
So I greatly appreciate it very much. And I love your leadership style, putting God first and trying to do what the Lord wants you to do.
Oh, yes.
And that strong family base and your desire to be ever learning and to be a servant leader in that way. So I appreciate it, and I've enjoyed the conversation.
Oh,
so,
you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everybody else, until next time, y'all keep on striving.